Just the other week I made a video on this channel talking about all the collaborations that Castlevania has been having with the likes of Dead by Daylight, but at the end of the day there was still no new game on the horizon, nothing new that's been announced for Castlevania whatsoever. That was just until the other week, and excuse me, but I've been playing this collection for the past week, but they actually announced the Castlevania Dominus Collection. Back in 2019 we got the Castlevania Anniversary Collection that had a bunch of the old games. Then in 2021 we had the Castlevania Advance Collection, which gave us the 3 Game Boy Advance games. And now we have the Dominus Collection. I cannot believe it actually happened. All 3 DS-vania games are finally here. We've obviously got Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow, Castlevania Portrait of Ruin, my personal favourite of the 3 actually, to be honest, and obviously we have Order of Ecclesia, which was the last Castlevania of its kind. Up until now, I actually played these games on a yearly basis on my channel through emulation, DS emulation. It was one of the only ways to actually capture these games, and it was actually pretty good for what it was. There was no real glaring bugs or anything. Bits of slowdown in the emulation, some music errors here and there. But thanks to this collection, I now have perfect ways of playing these games, and I could not be more grateful to Konami for actually giving me these. And as far as we're aware, these are not actual emulation that Konami have done here. They're actually native ports of the games. When I was playing them, I've had absolutely zero slowdown. It's been perfect as far as I'm concerned. I've not noticed any errors whatsoever. The games play perfectly. Guys, I genuinely think these are some of the best Castlevania games that have ever been made. Obviously, I don't think there's really a bad Castlevania game in the series. For me, maybe I could argue that the PS2 ones don't really float my boat that much, but I think we'll maybe get a collection for them down the line too, especially if they're doing the DS ones here. But seriously, these are some of the best Metroidvanias I've ever played. I'm not even a big Metroidvania type guy. I've tried playing Metroidvanias over the years because we've obviously not had Castlevania games in a long time. But I genuinely think Castlevania is the best ones that ever done Metroidvania as far as I'm concerned. I'm not here to hate on any other series over the years or anything. I think Castlevania personally, I think that's the best one. I've tried games like Hollow Knight and all that. I genuinely cannot get into those games, and every time there's a new game that comes out that's a Metroidvania, I kind of roll my eyes. Even Bloodstained, I was really looking forward to that when it first came out. But I found that it was completely lacking compared to Castlevania games. I'm looking forward to Bloodstained 2 though, so hopefully that game will be better than the first one. But seriously, to go back to Castlevania, for me, this is kind of peak Castlevania, I think, as far as the Metroidvanias go. I love the Game Boy Advance collection, but I really like the DS collection a lot more. And I think that's just because all the DS games are very different from each other. You know, when you look at the GBA collection, all the games kind of play similar. You know, they all take place in Dracula's castle, and that is the main focus of those 3 games. Whereas Dawn of Sorrow is the only one that takes place fully in the castle, so that's a more traditional Metroidvania game. And I think Dawn of Sorrow is getting better as the years go on. I think I'm starting to like Dawn of Sorrow more now than Aria of Sorrow, because I kind of find it just better. As far as Portrait of Ruin goes, you actually visit other worlds in the castle, so the castle isn't the main focus of that game. And the same goes with Order of Ecclesia. That game actually takes on a more linear structure as the game goes on. One of the reasons why I think it's not aged the best with people like myself, I still love the game though, I love that it's different, but the fact that it is linear in the start is a wee bit boring for people like myself. But when the castle opens up later on, that's where the game gets more fun for myself. But I think the reason they done that was to actually try and bring in some new players and not overwhelm them with all these places to go up until the end. Where the castle is not as big as Dawn of Sorrow, maybe it's around half the size. It's nowhere near as big as Dawn of Sorrow, but it's bigger than Portrait of Ruin, I think. But the castle then becomes the main focus towards the end, so I think they've done that for new players. It's a great game, Order of Ecclesia. It's just a shame we never got any more of these games after it. One really cool bonus about this collection is they actually recreated Haunted Castle as well, which was the original arcade version of Castlevania back in the day, and they done it in a fun style similar to Castlevania The Adventure Rebirth that came out in the Wii Virtual Console days, because that game was really fun and it's still not being re-released. Who knows if they'll put that in our collection. This game isn't too long, but it only takes half an hour to 40 minutes to beat or something, but there's actually difficulty options so you can make it harder. It's a really fun blast Castlevania game, and it's definitely worth checking out, and I appreciate that they even done it. It's a brand new Castlevania game for 2024. Guys, for 25 bucks, this collection is an absolute steal for 3 of the best Castlevania games that have ever been released. I genuinely cannot believe it's actually that cheap. You'll be doing yourself an injustice by no actually trying these games for as cheap as they are, and especially when they go on sale. I would imagine they'll be like half the price on the Steam sale eventually one day. Please guys, I want you just to try these games. If you're somebody who's only really ever played a couple of Castlevania games, or maybe you're sitting there right now saying, I don't want to play these games, I want Symphony of the Night. Because like Symphony of the Night has only been released on PlayStation, PS4 I think, a wee while ago, and there's actually no been an up-to-date port of Symphony of the Night for PC and other platforms. I'm sure it's coming, but seriously, if you like Symphony of the Night, these games are an absolute evolution of how that game was. And personally, if it's up to me, I think they are actually better than Symphony of the Night. No knock on Symphony of the Night. Not knocking it at all, great game, but I genuinely think these games are better. If you guys are fans of this series though, you've probably already picked this collection up, so you don't need me to tell you. I was 50-50 on the fact that we would ever get DS ports of these games, because I thought they would require a lot more work than the other collections I've had to put in over the years. DS ports are a lot harder to do, but I'm truly grateful to Konami for actually giving us fans these games, because that's who they've made it for. So I couldn't be happier, and it gives me high hopes for the future of Castlevania. I truly think, like I said in that other video, we've got a new game coming and I cannot wait to see what it's like. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.